Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Tips and Tactics looking at far-point attacking. Far-point attackers keep up the pressure and they keep the enemy distracted. Working to pick up bonus points for their team, they dominate and command in 1v1s as well as against the odds. They never stop pushing. In this episode we'll first take a look at how to create a far-point attacking build, followed by some general tips and some map specifics. So first up, let's discuss what makes up a far-point attacker build so you can create your own with the profession of your choice. Firstly, you want to be strong in 1v1s. Many of your encounters will be a 1v1 with the enemy defender, so build with this in mind. Next up, sustain. While many far-point attacker builds will feature some burst, you need to be able to sustain good damage over a longer fight when needed to keep multiple opponents distracted. Don't be squishy. Wherever you create your build, don't be too squishy. You need to at times sustain a fight versus 2v1, so some reasonable survivability is needed. If you're part of a proper team, plan your build alongside your roamer. Your build should work really well together and you'll be backing each other up fairly often. Stun breakers and stability work well in almost all builds. Knockbacks can be very helpful as well as other CC abilities. Chaining CC with a high burst roamer is one of the most effective far-point attacking setups currently. All this comes together to create a build that's good in 1v1 with some solid group fight sustain. Reasonable health as well as damage mitigation and CC mitigation is important, as well as having some CC of your own. Now for the basics of far-point attacking. Some teams won't include a far-point attacker, favouring a more defensive play. However, if yours does, there are a few things to bear in mind. Firstly, good communication and teamwork with your roamer is important. They will assist you, but you need to have other places to be, so know when to call for help and when not to. Have an escape plan. At times you'll be ganked heavily. This happens a bit less now the respawn system has been changed, but always have a means of escape. Be flexible. Your role is the most likely to change mid-map. You may be required to move to support the mid or roam, so keep these things in mind. If your team needs you to mix it up, don't just stay stuck in your role. Practice 2v1 as much as possible in public games. It's one of the toughest parts of Guild Wars 2 PvP, trying to finish someone off while also fighting another opponent, but work on it when you can. Secondary objectives will often be part of your role. On Nif or Hell you may get a good opportunity to steal the enemy boss, or on Legacy of the Foefire you can apply pressure to break the enemy gate when not needed on the point. Each map has its own challenges and tactics. I'm going to run through some specifics of each of these maps currently in the tournament rotation. On Nif or Hell the outer points are quite enclosed and have a lot of ledges and line of sight possibilities. I've linked two videos below looking, attacking and defending each point. The walkways into the points mean angling your knockbacks and fears correctly can be really important to get the most out of them, as a player may just hit the wall and not go the full distance. You may be able to steal the enemy team's boss here, so keep that in mind whenever it respawns. The nodes are really close to the enemy team base, as getting heavily pressured here is not unusual. Have an escape option at all times. The slipperiness of thieves here is particularly strong. While not in combat, feed any information to your team from what you can see of enemy movements. You have good line of sight towards one of the exits of their base and you can often see them going past the secondary exit. Legacy of the Foefire is a very teamfight heavy map and you will be required to change your role here often to assist at the middle point. High movement should be built into your build because of this. Mesmers use portals to jump around the map very quickly. You lay down the portal or the outside node, go and support in the middle, and you can lay down the actual returning portal whenever it's needed to jump straight back onto your node. Really effective way to use the abilities. You can make a nice distraction by attacking the enemy team's gate whenever possible. This may cause people to leave their node to try and stop you, and if not, if you manage to get the gate down, it can make for a sneaky boss push later in the match. AoE on the outer nodes is very strong, as people will often avoid stepping off the raised node, and instead they will take the full damage. The teamfight nature also encourages this. Clutter can be a big factor as well. Creating a lot of NPCs or turrets can make good distractions and block attacks. Kylo is a fairly easy match if you do play a far-point attacker. However, often you will instead take on a role of roaming or the trebuchet user if you play a Mesmer, so it's often good to learn to do that as well. Because of this, there isn't much to say about far-point attacking on this map. If your team does decide to have you attacking, high HP is important to avoid being destroyed by the trebuchet. After that, focus on killing the opponent quickly and just neutralising the node. Maintaining a cap is really hard with the incoming trebuchet fire. Your main role will just be to neutralise the point and then assist your roamer in killing their treb and killing other players, then go back and neutralise the point whenever it's needed. So this concludes our look at far-point attacking, and it also concludes our look at the different roles of tournament PvP. We've checked out roaming, near-point defence, mid-point defence, and this week the far-point attacking. Go back and check out all those videos over the last 4 weeks, as well as all the content we've released over the last couple months on this channel. This was actually the last episode in this season, but we'll be having a show out in the next couple of weeks letting you know what's going on in Season 2, which will be launching very early in January of the new year, so not too long to wait. We're also likely to have some pilot episodes coming up before then for some new shows, so keep an eye out for all that. We've got some great content planned, so keep an eye out. Thank you all very much.